Hello, my name's Alan Foom, and today I'm going to talk about change and resilience. Now, this isn't a Jane Austen novel, but a guide to coping to career change. With COVID-19 and the resultant lockdowns and resultant recession, a lot of people are going through a very dramatic time with losing their roles and need help to move forwards with where they are. So this is a workshop I've been running for various job clubs and support charities who are helping job seekers in the Thames Valley, England. And this is about the process that you're going through right now, and this is how to help you get to a better place. So, first surviving and then thriving in a challenging situation. Now, losing one's job involuntarily is a tough experience. You need to acknowledge what you've been lost, a sense of professional bereavement. So, status, income, community and friendships, routine and structure, long-term plans. A lot of these things, they're all up in the air right now, and that's tough. We need to develop a way to a better future. So it's the end of a job, it's not the end of your life, there'll be other things in the future, a new chapter begins, but it's a blank sheet, and that's pretty scary for a lot of people. We need to navigate the tricky journey between the two. So you need to be able to execute a path and plan it, and ability to cope with the challenges along the way. So this is the Kubler-Ross grief curve, so developed by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. You've probably heard about it: shock, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, realization, acceptance, and then adjustment to new beginnings. Now, it's not a direct linear path. People do go around in circles a bit and go backwards and forwards, so it's not an easy path, which for some people, particularly people who come from an engineering or scientific background, a bit tough to figure out. So the first stage is shock. So being told that you no longer have a job is painful. It's even worse when it's out the blue. When you've been accepting it, the writing has been on the wall, when you've been on death row for however many months because you know your company or your organization's in trouble, you can sort of plan with it, but when it's out the blue, very tough. So you feel numb and look like you're unable to cope. You need to run around to do something because you're an active person. Being like a headless chicken, well, that's not going to do anything. Easy thing to say, calm down. Much harder thing to do. Try to prepare for it and try to take time out if you can after the shock to be able to adjust. Denial. Big rivers in Egypt. But it's real. So you need to face the truth of the situation and understand in order to move on. Large blow of self-esteem, and telling your friends and your family that this has happened is not easy. Changing your social media profiles. But one way forward is to create a new professional profile, so either as a self-employed person, as a consultant, and show that you're looking for a new role, so business cards, LinkedIn profiles, etc. So trying to move on from the denial stage. Anger. It's a natural response, because what's happened to you isn't necessarily fair, and you don't deserve it, but as Clint Eastwood said, deserve's got nothing to do with it. It's not personal, well, most of the time it isn't, even if it feels that way. But how to manage your anger can be a challenging situation, and we need to look at our reactions can have long-term consequences, and burning bridges is normally a fairly bad idea, so learning to manage your anger effectively is very important. Bargaining and pleading. It took me hours to find a picture of that cat. So could you have done anything different? Is there anything you do to change things? Why me and not them? Is there an alternative? Well, you need to understand what's happening and it cannot be stopped, but it might be an opportunity to get better terms. If you're in the negotiation stage, make sure they follow the procedures so that you know and you safeguard your rights. Managing the exit. Leaving with your head held high, very important. It's not easy because leaving is an emotional day. You need to comply with all the severance agreements, so confidentiality, etc., handing over work in a good way, getting the relevant paperwork, and try not to look back in anger. Loss of workplace identity. For people who've been at a long time in a job, that's a very hard thing to do because you spend 36% of your waking hours on an average week at work. Your colleagues can become close friends, and a lot of people can be defined by their jobs, by their job title, their team, the project, even by their own location or desk. I've known people like that. But that's gone. So you need to build a new identity in order to move on. And we can work with that. Promise is going to get better, but there are going to be low times, and everybody will feel down from time to time. There'll be good days and bad days. Small things can set you off, and your behavior may affect the people around you. Now, they may be tolerant of that, some may not. Key thing is to learn to mourn and try to work out ways of coping in a positive way and trying to get support. And at Career Springboard Berkshire, we have 4 job clubs that will help you do with that. Realization. So you're now beginning to get into the dawn. There's little glimmers of light coming up of the sky. So the last chapter's closed and new one's coming. But you're scared because it's a blank page and you've got to write it. But it's also an opportunity because if it's a blank page, you can write what you wish to write, but within limits. So getting help and advice, beginning to develop a plan, getting your brochure together to sell yourself and beginning to network. And at Career Springboard Berkshire, we can help you with all of the above. So one of the key things we do is a positioning statement, also called a TMA. Now TMA is not our former Prime Minister or our local MP, Theresa May, but tell me about yourself. So it's a professional way of saying who you are, what skills you have, where have you worked, what are your achievements, and summarize what you have to offer. And I've got a video on that on my channel. And we also work on that quite a bit with Career Springboard Berkshire. Develop an exit statement because somebody will ask, why did you leave your last job? And it needs to be a positive and clear answer. And you must never ever slag off your former employer, even if they were appalling, never ever badmouth them. And have an offer statement. What are you looking for? Are you looking for staff role, contract work, consultancy? And what do you have to give people? So one thing within the offer statement is quite often people will ask you straight up, why should we employ you? What do you have to offer us? Even if they don't, that's what they're asking without saying it. So write down 5 reasons. What you're good at. For example, I'm good at interpreting geophysical data. Gives you insights to make informed decisions about locating wells in exploration, new venture development, production contexts. Delivering projects, time and budget, working effectively in multidisciplinary teams. People from all around the world I can bring together to deliver the goods. Managing joint ventures. If you're working in oil and gas business, quite a few things are done with co-venture companies, both NOCs, national oil companies, or other IOCs and national oil companies. So what I can do effectively is work within the JV to protect your interest to grow the JV. I can also train, guide and mentor your geoscientists. And I'm good at understanding, communicating and managing HSE business rings. I can also write a whole bunch of other things, but if you write yourself several statements of what you're good at, it gives you an idea to be able to sell yourself. So, acceptance. You're beginning to feel more confident. You're retaining and regaining self-belief. Capable of coping with setbacks that will inevitably come, because there will be setbacks, but relishing each success, however small. You've now got a brochure with a sales pitch, growing network, confidence to approach people with a proposition, and you're supporting people around you. So this is something by an American theologian, which is the Serenity Prayer. So God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. It's important because we can then focus on the things that can make a positive impact and try and to worry less about things that we can't. So I'm a geophysicist working on oil business. I worry about the oil price. Nothing I can do about that. But what I can do is I can brush up on my skills. I can work with other people in order to build my network, and I can then sell what I've got. So finding which is a challenge, and particularly if you happen to be in a stress situation. Next thing is getting your sales pitch together. So many people, particularly Britons or people who have been educated in Britain, are not very good at selling themselves. If you go and work with other cultures, and I work with Americans, Nigerians, Indians, and people from the former Soviet Union who tend to be a bit better at this sort of thing than Britons do. But you're now in the sales business, and you need to stress your capabilities, your skills and experience in order to get someone to hire you. So think Don Draper, think Mad Men. So what are employers looking for? It's quite a list there, but you've got most of that. Your skills, experience, knowledge, ability to learn, your flexibility, your professionalism, your network, your enthusiasm. You have delivered the goods in the past and you will deliver the goods in the future. So your task is to convince a potential employer that you've got all of the above. Networking, the key guide to hidden openings. So about 80% of openings are not actually advertised, and they're accessed via network. So conferences, professional bodies, you need to join your professional body, whichever that is, former colleagues, customers, suppliers, other associates, social gathering, clubs, societies, religious groups, churches, mosques, synagogues, temples, etc. in the online world with LinkedIn. So you need to get circulating. Have a clear message, have something to offer, but also be prepared for setbacks. And try not to be Yoss accused. People from Britain who remember the 1980s, there was a TV series called Boys in the Black stuff. You can look it up online. But don't be like that. And then adjustment and new beginnings. You're now at a more peaceful place. You've got a sense of purpose, sense of confidence, self-belief. You can deal with the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. You can and do achieve. You have plenty to offer the world, and the world begins to accept. It's morning again. Doesn't that sound good? Yes. So if you happen to live in England and happen to live in the Thames Valley, there's an organisation which I do volunteering for called Career Springboard. We have 4 clubs, so there's one in Bracknell, there's one in East Berkshire, which works in Slough, there's one in Gerrards Cross, and there's one in Newbury. I also occasionally used to host before COVID, the Maidenhead Professional Coffee Morning, which we're going to move to be doing online. So currently we're all active online via Zoom, but we hope to return to face-to-face if we can. So if you are a job seeker in the Thames Valley, please contact Career Springboard, put us into Google, and we'll help you. So thank you very much. You can like this video. I'd be very grateful. Thank you.